It wasn't supposed to end like this. Not with Nikola Jokić, the heart of a champion, walking off the court in silence, while a younger, hungrier Oklahoma City Thunder celebrated on their home floor in Paycom Center. Just 2 years ago, Denver was untouchable. They weren't just NBA champions, they were the blueprint. A perfect mix of chemistry, coaching, and all-world talent.
Lowry searching. Looking. Finds Strus back to Lowry. There it is, three-pointer. Won't go. Rebound, Caldwell Pope. They're not going to foul.
Analysts called it the start of a dynasty, with Jokić leading a core built to dominate for years. But on May 18th, 2025, that dream took a hit. A crushing 28-point blowout in Game 7, driven by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's brilliance, shattered Denver's aura of invincibility.
Caruso throws it back. SGA throws it down.
How efficient you are in the last 5 minutes of a close game. But if you're efficient in 48 minutes...
Dreams of a title for the Thunder are still alive. OKC is going to...
The margin for error? Gone. The championship window? Fading. In today's video, we're unpacking how a team that once stood on the NBA's highest peak has now stumbled to the edge of a cliff. From a critical injury that derailed their playoff run, to a brutal financial chokehold, to a roster too thin to survive the West. This is the story of why the Denver Nuggets may never be the same. And to understand how the cracks in Denver's armor became impossible to ignore, we need to start with the injury that exposed it all. The injury that shook the core. Aaron Gordon wasn't supposed to be the guy who made or broke a season. But if you've been watching the Nuggets closely since their 2023 title run, you know better.
Got it going early, got touches, and staying aggressive, winning his matchup. Grown man strength by Gordon.
He was Denver's defensive anchor, guarding the opposing team's best scorer night after night. He was the guy who didn't need touches to impact the game. He's the glue. The 6'8" forward guards the opponent's best scorer, crashes the boards, and throws down highlight reel dunks.
Brown, lob it up, slap it down! Aaron Gordon!
In the 2023 finals, he locked down stars like Jimmy Butler, averaging 13 points and 6 rebounds. In the 2025 playoffs, Gordon was even better. Through 13 games, he averaged around 16 points, shot nearly 38% from three, and delivered clutch plays, including a game-winning dunk against the Clippers in round 1.
And this is for the win! Oh! It's close! They're going to call it! Did Gordon beat the buzzer?
But against the top-seeded Thunder, everything changed. In Game 6, Gordon looked off. He looked slower. He wasn't cutting, no explosiveness on rebounds. He finished with just 5 points on 2 of 7 shooting in 38 minutes, his worst game of the postseason. That night, the news dropped. Grade 2 hamstring strain. Timeline? 4 to 6 weeks. But Game 7 was 2 days away. Gordon, the ultimate competitor, played Game 7 anyway, but it was brutal. The Athletic reported he was useless with a bum hamstring. And it was obvious. He couldn't move laterally, he couldn't jump, and OKC attacked him like a shark smelling blood. As ESPN reported, the Thunder's game plan zeroed in on Gordon's injury. The result? 22 turnovers forced, a blowout win, and a blueprint for beating a suddenly vulnerable Nuggets squad. But the real problem wasn't just Gordon's limited play, it was Denver's lack of a reliable replacement. With Gordon hobbled, the Nuggets turned to their bench, but it crumbled. Dario Saric, a veteran stretch big on a $5.4 million player option for 2025-26, didn't play in Game 7, benched for 14 straight playoff games per Blue Man Hoop. Instead, young forwards like Peyton Watson and Julian Strawther were thrust into big minutes. Watson, a defensive specialist, struggled offensively, while Strawther, despite flashes, was overmatched by OKC's athletic frontcourt. Holmgren and Williams dominated, and Denver's defense collapsed, allowing 125 points. This wasn't just a bad injury, it was a neon sign flashing. This team is one piece away from falling apart. Gordon's hamstring strain, with its risk of re-injury for a 30-year-old reliant on athleticism, is a warning. Denver's depth, or lack thereof, could haunt them for years. And as we'll see next, the injury didn't just hurt the team on the court, it exposed a much deeper flaw: the shaky foundation beneath the stars. Let's rewind to see how Denver got here. On paper, Denver had a great season. They won around 50 games. Jokić was Jokić, averaging roughly 26 points, 12 rebounds, and 9 assists, keeping him in the MVP race. Jamal Murray was streaky, sure, but still delivered when it counted. Porter Jr. was solid in the regular season, hitting around 40% from 3, and Aaron Gordon, before the injury, was doing it all. But look past the surface, and the cracks were already forming. Depth was an issue all year. In 2023, Bruce Brown and Jeff Green filled gaps. Brown's 11.5 playoff points and Green's veteran savvy were clutch. In 2025, they were gone, replaced by Reggie Jackson and Dario Saric, who barely moved the needle. In the first round against the Clippers, Denver barely survived in 7 games. Gordon bailed them out with a buzzer-beating dunk in Game 4.
Gordon coming in. They did not block him out.
Jokić went nuclear in Game 6. And still, it took everything they had just to get past a banged-up LA team. Then came the Thunder, a 60-plus win juggernaut with no weak links. Their defense, led by Lou Dort and Chet Holmgren, was tailor-made to frustrate Denver. The series went back and forth. Game 6 in Denver looked like a bounce-back. Murray, battling a flu, dropped 25, and rookie Julian Strawther hitting key threes off the bench. It looked like the Nuggets were getting their second wind. And then, Game 7 happened. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander put on a clinic. 35 points, 4 assists, 2 turnovers, carving up Denver's defense. They looked cooked. Porter Jr. disappeared. Gordon was hurt. And even Jokić, despite a triple-double, couldn't overcome the chaos around him. 125-93. At home. A team built to contend had just been dismantled by a younger squad that wasn't even supposed to be ready yet. The loss didn't just hurt. Jokic's post-game quote said it all.
We had the opportunity, we didn't win it, so I think
we had opportunities. We didn't win it, so I think we can't. It raised a terrifying question. Is this the best version of the Nuggets we'll ever see? And to answer that, we've got to look at the one thing holding them back more than anything else. Roster reality check. Let's break down the roster, piece by piece. Nikola Jokić, untouchable. A 3-time MVP, top 20 all-time, the centerpiece of everything at age 30. Jamal Murray, flawed but clutch, still just 28, with playoff heroics in his DNA. Aaron Gordon, at 30, he's the perfect third option when healthy. Defense, dunks, and grit. Christian Braun, a 24-year-old spark plug, scrappy and cheap with defensive upside. These 4 are the core, the foundation Denver builds on, but beyond them, the cracks are glaring. And then there's Michael Porter Jr., biggest question mark. At 6'10", he's a sharpshooter, typically hitting around 40% from 3 with all-star potential. But in the playoffs, he vanished, shooting under 40% against OKC, often passive in big moments. Worse, his contract is a franchise strangler, $35.9 million next season, climbing to $40 million by 2027 per spot rack. Moving him sounds easy until you realize no contending team wants to take on that salary for a streaky shooter who doesn't pass or defend at an elite level. Even fans are torn or split. Some want him traded, others hope he'll rebound. Trading him sounds simple, but his deal is a tough sell. Contenders don't want a $36 million one-dimensional scorer, and rebuilding teams like Houston might demand picks to take him, maybe for a package like Jabari Smith Jr. and a first-rounder. Then there's the bench, or lack thereof. Dario Saric, signed to stretch the floor, was a non-factor, benched for all 14 playoff games, including Game 7, due to his defensive limitations. Reggie Jackson, at 35, averaged under 15 minutes in the playoffs, running on fumes. Peyton Watson and Strawther show promise. Watson's a defensive menace.
Defensively having some issues, OKC on a run, and Peyton Watson, well, that is so difficult to do. He lets him go.
Strawther hit big shots in Game 6, but they're not ready to fill real playoff minutes. In 2023, Denver had Bruce Brown and Jeff Green to plug holes.
Jeff Green screen, and they're going right to the same play, same result.
Now, they're banking on minimum salary fillers to survive. The truth is this: one injury, one bad shooting night, and the whole thing falls apart. Denver's 2025 draft pick, likely in the 20s, won't fix this unless they trade up for a high upside forward. This roster isn't built to withstand the West's depth. And if they want to fix it, they'll need to do it under one of the toughest financial situations: cap crunch chaos. Now, Let's talk money, because Denver's wallet is in a chokehold. The NBA's salary cap for 2025-26 is $154.6 million. Denver's projected payroll? Approaching $200 million per Hoops Hype before filling out the roster. They're not just in luxury tax territory, they're flirting with the second apron, around $190 million. What does that mean? No mid-level exception to sign free agents. No taking back more salary in trades. No signing buyout players. And your 2032 first-round pick could be moved to the end of the round per the CBA's penalties for second apron teams. This is the NBA's way of punishing big spenders, and Denver's feeling the heat. Break down the contracts, and it's ugly. Nikola Jokić Supermax is $60.1 million, worth every penny for a generational star. Jamal Murray's extension kicks in at $46.3 million, fair for a star guard. Michael Porter Jr.'s $35.9 million is a backbreaker, a max deal for a streaky shooter. Aaron Gordon's $22.8 million is reasonable when healthy, but his injury adds risk. Dario Saric's $5.4 million player option, likely to be picked up, pushes them closer to the apron. Add Reggie Jackson's expiring $5.2 million, and you're over $170 million with just 7 players per spot track. The Cranky family, with a $15 billion net worth, has paid big before, $68 million in luxury tax in 2023-24. But the repeater tax, for teams over the line 4 years running, escalates fast. A $190 million payroll could mean a $100 million tax bill, per Yahoo Sports. Even billionaires flinch at that with no title in sight. The new CBA traps teams like Denver. Trade a big contract to save money, and you downgrade talent. Try the draft, your picks is in the 20s. Free agents, you're stuck with minimums. It's a financial prison, and Denver's serving a long sentence unless they make bold moves. The make or break offseason. The offseason is Denver's chance to escape this mess, but it won't be easy. They have 3 options this offseason: retool, rebuild, or risk it all. Retooling means keeping Jokić, Murray, and Gordon, trading Porter Jr. or bench players like Saric for a better fit. Maybe target a guy like OG Anunoby or a backup big who can guard the rim. The problem? Denver has no leverage. Porter Jr.'s $36 million deal scares off contenders, and their lack of picks limits blockbuster trades. A hypothetical deal, like Porter Jr. to Houston for Jabari Smith Jr. and a first, might be their best shot, but it's a long shot. Rebuild is trickier. You trade someone like Murray, whose $46 million deal could fetch picks and young talent, and shift into a slower reset while still building around Jokić. Maybe you send him to Atlanta for DeAndre Hunter and a pick, but trading your second best player while your MVP is still in his prime, that's a risk only a fearless GM makes. Which brings us to another problem. Denver doesn't have a GM. Calvin Booth was let go after the playoffs, and now the team is in limbo. No clear leadership, no clear plan. Tanking? Forget it. You're not tanking with Nikola Jokić on your roster. It's not happening. And even if you wanted to, Jokić is too good. He alone guarantees 45 wins. He's too good to let Denver bottom out.
Cheated way in.
Jokić going to throw it up from way. He got it! Oh my! Nikola Jokić! All the way from...
Even if they traded Murray and Gordon, Jokić would drag them to the play-in. Plus, the 2026 draft, with prospects like Cooper Flagg, is tempting. But Denver's late 2025 pick won't get them there without trading up. The Crankers have spent big before, but the repeater tax might force cost-cutting. So the front office is left trying to do the impossible. Rebuild on the fly. Stay under the tax. Keep your MVP happy. And build a team good enough to survive in a loaded Western Conference. And if that sounds hard, just wait until you see who they have to beat to get there. The West has passed them by. In 2023, Denver was the model. Jokić genius, a balanced roster, and a title to prove it. Now, they're just one of the pack. Oklahoma City just stomped them in a Game 7. Minnesota is built like a fortress with Ant-Man and Julius Randle. Dallas, now powered by Anthony Davis after a blockbuster trade, is a new threat. Golden State still has Steph Curry. Phoenix has Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. The Lakers, with Luka Doncic leading the way, are reloaded. The Kings, Pelicans, the list goes on. These teams are younger, deeper, and often cheaper, with rosters averaging 25 years old compared to Denver's 28. Denver's aging and expensive. Jokić, at 30, is dominant, but how long can he carry this load? Aaron Gordon, also 30, has a bulky hamstring. Jamal Murray, 28, battles inconsistency. Michael Porter Jr.'s contract is a luxury they can't afford. Fans are restless. Ex-posts call for trades, with one saying, Jokić deserves better than this supporting cast. The media is skeptical, with CBS Sports warning Denver's wasting Jokic's prime. And Jokić? He said it himself after the Game 7 loss. We had opportunities, we didn't win it, so I think we can't. That doesn't sound like a man with a plan. It sounds like a man questioning everything. And unless Denver makes the right moves fast, that question might become their legacy. The Denver Nuggets had it all: a generational star, a title, a blueprint for team building that the league feared. Now, they've got a broken bench, a brutal cap sheet, and a playoff exit that stings more with every replay. Aaron Gordon's injury was the tipping point, but the real issue runs deeper. This team was always one misstep from collapse, and now that the misstep has happened, there's no easy way back. Can they trade their way out of this mess? Can they rebuild without wasting Jokic's prime? Can they find one last run in a closing window? Time is running out, and one thing's for sure: the Nuggets will never be the same.